What's up, Tiger fans? It's the Morgan Thomas Show's instant reaction to Jordan Hancock decommitting from the Clemson Tigers. He's a 2021 cornerback, 6'1", 170 pounds from North Gwinnett High School in Sewanee, Georgia. Now is currently showing as a higher interest to Ohio State over Clemson. Originally committed to Clemson March 11th, and now as of late last night, July 14th, has decommitted from the Tigers. A lot of Ohio State fans have been saying in their messaging boards that this has been a long time coming, that he's been looking for the past 2 weeks to decommit from Clemson. However, I'm looking over on Twitter and I'm seeing a lot of posts where he has been actively recruiting other players and has Clemson gear on in some of his photos. So it's definitely a concern. It seems as if he is also retweeting things from Clemson fan pages and from his friend and high school teammate Barrett Carter, who is wearing Clemson gear in some of his photos. Even in a post from Barrett Carter as late or as early as June 28th, where Carter says, "Oh yeah, I'm still #all in 1000% BTW," and then a tiger emoji there. So Jordan Hancock retweeted that on the 28th of June. The only negative thing that I can see that Hancock has retweeted was the video from WSBA News Channel 7 where the drivers with Confederate flags made their way through downtown Clemson ahead of that protest. But he also had the video of Dabo Swinney speaking at this time. So it's definitely very confusing. It looks like he has some posts, at least in the last month, where he's actively trying to recruit other players to Clemson. Definitely a shocker for me, and news that you don't want to hear about, especially when you compound it with the fact that college football is still debating over whether or not they should play a regular season in the fall. So I wanted to get some instant reaction from the guys on the team. Alan Adams is with me, as well as Houston Burnett. We're going to be talking about this situation and give our instant reaction on what we think's going on. Again, for me, it's definitely a shock, not something that I saw coming. I am now concerned about Barrett Carter, even though some are saying it's two completely different situations. But I wanted to start off with Alan. What are your instant reaction thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's certainly a disappointment. I mean, you kind of got the thing going now where Clemson never has a decommitment. It's something we've talked about on the show several times. And all of a sudden, Corey Foreman, the nation's #1 prospect defensive end, he decommits. Now Jordan Hancock, one of the higher-ranked cornerbacks in this class, decommits. It's kind of frustrating to see. It's something we're not used to, and I think the lack of face-to-face time is really affecting Clemson this recruiting season. But, I really like Jordan Hancock. I really like his film. I thought he was a great player. I think I compared him to a kind of more advanced Martin Jenkins for, former Clemson cornerback. Speed, aggressiveness. I really liked his play. I think he has, high NFL draft round potential. It's definitely never a good thing to lose a player like that. But, Clemson's going to be fine losing Jordan Hancock. They're going to find a good replacement, I would imagine. They'll find a 4-star cornerback to replace him. He may not be quite to Hancock's level, but he'll be serviceable for sure. I'm not doubting Dabo Swinney and staff here to find their man. I think the more concerning deal is the fact that him and Barrett Carter were good friends. There's a lot of talk about Barrett Carter possibly being the next guy to decommit, and we'll see if that actually happens. That would be the one that concerns me most. So I think he really needs to get back on campus, face-to-face with Clemson coaches, and figure out why it was that he committed to Clemson in the first place. I think that's going to work out well for the Tigers. I don't think Carter is going to go anywhere, but I do think you'll hear some smoke about it, kind of like you did with Jordan Hancock. There's been a lot of smoke with Jordan Hancock to Ohio State for quite some time now. So anyways, it's not a good thing. You never want to lose a commitment, especially of the caliber of Jordan Hancock, who I think has borderline 4 or 5-star potential. It's frustrating to say the least, but Clemson's going to find a good replacement. Good luck to Jordan Hancock, and hopefully he has success over, wherever he ends up.
Everyone needs to relax. Relax. Everything is going to be just fine. Clemson's going to be fine. It stinks that Jordan Hancock will not be a part of the Tigers' upcoming class. It stinks that Ohio State's kind of been playing a part of this. I think this has been going on a little longer than what people want to want to bring up. I think Jordan Hancock was looking elsewhere to begin with, and this is just kind of how it ended. But, unfortunately, negative recruiting might have played a part in that, and that just kind of speaks to what Ohio State's program, which some have been speculating he's been leaning towards, has been doing. But I think Clemson's going to be fine. I think Barrett Carter might end up staying. I trust Coach Sweeney's process. I think the fans should trust Coach Sweeney's process. Clemson's team is going to be just fine. Clemson's evaluation is going to be just fine. The Tigers are going to be great this next year. And honestly, something that I think fans are missing out on is some of the players that we're missing out on right now, like Corey Foreman, we're still very much in play for. We're still very much in play for several great players like Peyton Page. We're still in great position for other corners that we missed out on. We may not get Jordan Hancock, or Clemson may not get Jordan Hancock, but Clemson also is in line with JaQuincy McKinstry. The team is very much in line with Nyland Green. So I anticipate Clemson to respond and have a great pickup, especially like last night. The Tigers were able to pick up Kamari Lassiter out of Atlanta. So I anticipate the Tigers being able to do well. Clemson's going to be all right. I think everybody just needs to relax. I know it's the immediate reaction of Twitter and everything for everyone to start freaking out about Clemson's recruiting class. It's just the optics of the situation. There's several programs, including Ohio State and Alabama, USC, that have had several decommitments over the past decade, a lot more than us. But as soon as we have 2 in 1 class, it's just unacceptable, and everyone's going to panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. Clemson's going to be just fine. Clemson's going to have a great recruiting class, and I anticipate the Tigers going to have a great finish to the end of this year.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway is, if you're a Clemson fan, is yes, it hurts, it stings anytime you lose a big-time recruit, cornerback, 4-star, 6'1", somebody that we all felt would be a great fit for the scheme, the defensive scheme, and for the program in general. When you lose that, it is definitely difficult to take, especially in the time that we are now, where there's not a lot of other positive things to talk about. Then you have this negative additionally added on to what we're already talking about. But there's still other recruits out there, JaQuincy McKinstry, that we talked about, shorter but better in one-on-one coverage. And then a guy that we've talked about in the past, Nyland Green from Covington, Georgia, 4-star guy, just right under the ranking from Jordan Hancock. And then again on Twitter recently, Kamari Lassiter announced that he has got an offer from Clemson. He's a little bit lower on the list, a 3-star guy, but has some interest from big-time schools around the area: Alabama, Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, Georgia Tech. So those are teams that are also interested in him as well. So even though he may not be a 4-star or 5-star guy, he's definitely someone that can come in and contribute and possibly become even bigger star than what he's evaluated as. And we know that that's what Clemson does so great at, is getting these guys that are kind of under the radar, or high 3-star, if you will, and developing them into superstars and NFL first round, second round guys. I think one thing to remember, and that's a good quote from some of the fans out there on Twitter, is that Clemson has never needed a number 1 recruiting class to win the national championship. And there have been a lot of teams out there, we'll talk specifically about Georgia in this sense, that have had number 1 recruiting classes multiple years, even in a row, consecutively, and were not able to even win their own conference or win the national championship. So recruiting rankings, they're great. We love to talk about them, but they really are evaluating what that player has done over their high school term or over their camp terms and in their film. It's not a very good indicator of what they're going to do in the future and how Clemson develops their players. And at the end of the day, Clemson wants players that want to be there. And if you don't want to be there, that's okay. don't commit to Clemson. And some are saying that that is not the appropriate way that Dabo Swinney should handle the recruiting landscape, that things are changing, and Dabo Swinney's ways of holding a recruit to their commitment is antiquated, much as if like, not living together before you're married type thing. And I would say that just because we're in an unprecedented time does not mean that you change the formula that got you to where you already are. Keep the basics in there, stick to your values and what you believe in, and I believe Dabo Swinney does that, and that's what's going to continue him to be successful in the future. So no need to panic. There are other recruits out there. We wish the best for Mr. Hancock in his future endeavors, and as always, go Tigers.